Malcolm Gladwell says it's not in your best interest to work from home. Nearly 20 years ago, he said he hates desks and writes from his couch. So that's the name of the title of this article. One thing I like to mention about Malcolm Gladwell is that he is a successful author. He's published several successful books in the last 20 years that have done pretty well. I think they're all bestsellers. So he's had a great deal of success. He's now in his late 50s. It says right here he was born in, I believe, September 3rd of 1963. So he's nearly 60 now. And I'm going to read some quotes from this article. I'm not going to read the whole entire article. I think it's the quotes that really stand out in this article for me. So here goes. The first quote I'm going to read is, as we face the battle that all organizations are facing now in getting people back into the office, it's really hard to explain this core psychological truth, which is we want you to have a feeling of belonging and to feel necessary, he said. I know it's a hassle to come into the office, but if you're just sitting in your pajamas in your bedroom, is that the work life you want to live? He questioned. Don't you want to feel part of something? He added, I'm really getting very frustrated with the inability of people in positions leadership to explain this effectively to their employees. Okay, so I let me see if there's any other quotes I missed from here. I think I've covered everything. Let me see. So I have to say that I don't agree with Malcolm Gladwell. I'm speaking from my own experience of actually working from home. I actually love working from home. It's been great. Psychologically, it's been a great mental boost for me. I can definitely say that. Just I like being alone, to be honest. I'm a happy loner, as they would call it. I have friends, but I really like to have my space with myself. So it really helps me, and I've been performing at a high level at my job. So I don't agree with his notions that work for home is a bad thing. For me, it works great, and also I've actually made connections with people at my job because I have the ability to talk to them from my computer. We have Microsoft Teams, and we have, I've made friends with several colleagues. We've done audio calls, where we just talk randomly, not because we had to, but because we had time to speak to each other. So we built up relationships that way. Even though all these people live in different states, I still feel connected to them. We talk every single day, to be honest, for like 20, 30 minutes randomly. Someone will call me or I'll call them. So I don't know what he's talking about needing to feel connected by being in the office. You can feel connected to people without being in the office. I've definitely felt these connections. So I think he's full of shit on that one. And I also think it's better to have this freedom where you can actually enjoy talking to your colleagues without them bothering you. Whereas at the office, there's some colleagues you don't like. They snitch on you. They tell people you're not doing what you're supposed to do. I've had that experience at other jobs, and I like not dealing with that shit right now. It's great. It's fantastic. So I think he's wrong, very wrong about that. Also, when he talks about feel of belonging, that's a bunch of bullshit, and I'm just very disappointed in him because he's nearly 60, so he has the life experience to know that you don't ever really feel like you belong to a company, like it's a community. I think that's what he's trying to imply that to feel like you're part of a community by working at the office. That's a bunch of BS. I've never felt like I was part of a community at all the jobs I've worked in. And I've been out of college for a while now, for at least a decade and a half, So I just think that's a bunch of BS. Like I've never felt this community or any of this stuff. There are some colleagues I liked working with, but at the end of the day, it wasn't really a community like a family or people I made friends with outside of work or at school when I had some friends in college. It's definitely not like that. So I don't know what he's talking about when he refers to feeling like you belong, like you're belonging to something or you're part of something. That to me is just a bunch of nonsense. You stop believing that BS once you work at least for a few years outside of college. You realize the game that this is not a community. this is just a job, and these people that you're working with, you can like them for the time being, but most of them will not be your friends when you leave your job. So it's not really a community. You realize that it is a job in every sense of the job, that you need to perform at a high level, or at least a level which your employer feels is good enough for you to stay there for a long period of time. And that's all it really is. No one really gives a shit about you other than your production at the end of the day. Some people can be friendly to you and nice, but it's all about your production. So that's not community. People can find community in so many ways outside of work. You can participate in a sport. You can join a church if you're religious. I'm not religious, granted, but you can join them. You can find hobbies now. There's even meetups now due to just social media, how prevalent it is today. You can find people that have your hobbies in your own city. Maybe you like woodworking. You could look for a bunch of woodworking classes and make friends that way. So that to me is just a bunch of horseshit by him. Really, I don't know what he's trying to push, because this man is a hypocrite. According to this article, I think he's quoted saying that he actually has enjoyed working at coffee shops for most of his adult life. That's what it says right here. For much of his adult life, he's worked at coffee shops writing stuff, and that he hates desks. He hates working from desks. This man is a hypocrite. So I don't know what he has against people work from home when he's pretty much lived that life for a long period of time now when it comes to his own adult life. Just I don't get it. Maybe there's some ego involved in Malcolm where he liked being able to work at home, whereas millions of others couldn't. So he had that over them, and maybe that made him feel good about himself, that he had something great compared to millions of other Americans, and he was part of the small, tiny few privileged people to have that. So I just think he's hypocritical. I don't respect it. Just I have a strong disdain for hypocrites, and Malcolm is a hypocrite in my eyes. I just think he's pretty stupid for the stuff he's saying when he can't really live up to his own words since he's been working from home for many years. That's just my thought of it. I don't have anything else to add to this. Let me know what you guys think.